I'm gonna be talking spoilers for Dispatch, and if you're an Invisigal hater, scroll away. This video is not for you, so I will give you the time to scroll away, and yeah, and this is also your spoiler warning, so I'm giving you the opportunity to scroll away if you're an Invisigal hater, and scroll away for spoilers, so this is your last chance. Okay, so obviously I've been seeing, quite a bit of hate on Invisigal, which, again, half if it makes sense, yeah, half of it doesn't, so yeah, I'll just put it out for you there, babes. So I can't stand the hate. I can't stand it. I can't. Oh my god. I will admit, when I first saw gameplay of the game, I had a sneaking suspicion that, once we got introduced to the character, back in my head, I was like, I feel like people aren't gonna like this character, like, immediately, because, again, later on, I just had a feeling they were setting up the two, main love interests, oh, you're gonna have to pick between Blonde Blazer and Invisigal, so I'm like, especially in the beginning, because once we meet Blonde Blazer, you can immediately tell, because, again, people are like, why would you go the Invisigal route when clearly Blonde Blazer, and, you can tell he likes Blonde Blazer in the beginning, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, I get that, but yet again, I'm like, listen, listen for a second, just listen, just 1 minute, just for 1 minute, listen up. So yeah, I get that majority of it, but I'm like, here's the thing. I sensed the vibe in the beginning when I watched gameplay of it. So I'm like, I sensed it. I immediately was like, maybe. I think I could down for it. But yet again, I'm like, because the specific gameplay I was watching is from Jacksepticeye, who is in the game, who voices Punch-Up, which is incredible, and I'm a huge Jacksepticeye fan. I think he did an amazing job in the game. So yeah, I was watching his gameplay, and he went the Invisigal route. So yeah, and I was like, and as I was slowly, going through his gameplay / playthrough of the game, I was like, Invisigal's story is really interesting to me. So I'm like, yeah, I'm down to see her story and see where it goes. So yeah. And then it, of course, led to the end, the ending of chapter 6 / episode 6, where, Chase goes to sacrifice himself to save Invisigal, because she went off in that little thing, because, again, it depends on the choices you make in the game, whether, you stay, we should make a plan first, or they decide to go, go anyway. But in Jack's playthrough, he was like, yeah, we should stop and make a plan first before, that, and then, her and Chase started to have an argument, and then, then that was that, and then, and then it led to the ending of, chapter 6 / episode 6, so I'm like, yeah, I get where, and then that's probably where the hate starts to, keep sinking more in, because I know, just, both, yeah, obviously, and before that even happens, I've seen people complain on, the way she, talks to Robert, and, just, and the way her attitude is, I'm like, it's a part of her character, and it's part of the writing of the story and everything. I'm like, I get why fans are are like that, but I'm like, it's a part of the gameplay, and it's part of the story, and a part of the character, it's part of the writing for the game, and then, of course, after chapter 6, going into the final 2 chapters of the game, of course, people are like, if you decide to go that route, we should make a plan first. She ends up going anyway, and then, yeah, again, if you go technically, it depends, depends on the choices you make in the game, but, yeah, so, yeah, and then, of course, you go, afterwards, you go into the final 2 chapters of the game, the beginning of chapter 7, and, of course, you see the team, not really, they're kind of, skeptical about her now, because, again, because they blame her for, going there on her own, and then, if she hadn't gone on her own, if she hadn't done that, Chase would still be fine, and stuff like that, because the others of the team have grown fond of him, and stuff like that, because, again, yeah, it's the process, of the climax and the stuff of the story, so I'm like, I get it, again, yeah, so yeah, let's just, let's have a more continuation. And it makes sense because, they're obviously, you can tell they're hurt by this, and they're like, and they're saying, it's her fault, blah, 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 which, again, don't get me wrong, she messed up. Yeah, she messed up, she shouldn't have done what she did, but I'm like, yeah, I understand, I get that part of it, but I'm like, it's called, slowly, don't let that, hate kind of, overcome you and stuff like that, again, she messed up, it was an accident, she didn't, you know, yeah, again, both, you know, it's both different things, but, you know, yeah, and Chase didn't have to go. He didn't have to go and save her, but he did, because in that moment, like, to me, as a fan watching the gameplay, I was like, to me, again, like I said, Chase didn't have to do that. He didn't have to go save her, but he did. So, yeah, like, I can tell from my perspective, like, you can tell, like, again, if you go the Invisigal route, like, as for the love interest, I can legit see, and you can see he cares, and, you know, and Chase, again, he may have his issues with Invisigal and stuff like that, like, he may, yeah, but you can just tell deep down, like, you know, Chase can tell, like, you know, he's like, yeah, I know. He's like, I think, yeah, you care about her, and, you know, he's like, let me do this for you, and then, you know, but if I die, so be it. Like, I would have helped you one last time, and, you know, stuff like that. So I'm like, it's just bittersweet to me, and I'm like, Chase, oh my gosh, you just amazing soul, like, you know. And then, of course, that slowly leads to the aftermath of what, you know, happened, and, you know, stuff like that. Him being in the infirmary, he's slowly recovering, but you don't know what's gonna happen after that. Like, you don't know if he's gonna wake up or something like that. Yeah, and then, of course, the team, like, you know, blaming her, being like, she shouldn't have gone, and, you know, if she hadn't have gone, you know, Chase would be okay, he'd still be fine, but, you know, yeah. But yet again, like I said, Chase didn't have to go and save her, but he did, because, again, like I said, in that moment, to me, I could just literally tell, again, if you go the Invisigal route for the love interest, like, you can just tell, like, you know, Chase, like, at the end of the day, Chase just realizes that, you know, that Robert cares for her, like, he really cares about her, and, you know, stuff like that. I mean, like, yeah, like, you know, yeah, it's just, he's a sweetheart. I love Chase. He's just, Jeffrey Wright voiced him so well, like, oh my god, like, can we just talk about that? Like, oh my god, everyone did an incredible job, like, oh my god, like, amazing. So, yeah, it was just, oh my god, it was just my heart and my emotions, like, oh my god. And then, like I said earlier, if I didn't already, but, you know, yeah, and then that leads to, you know, the team wanting to, you know, like agreeing, like, you know, we should cut her. I think you should cut her and stuff like that. And then, of course, before that, Blonde Blazer's like, I like, you know, it's just, I suggest, you know, again, you don't have to, but I'm like, I suggest you cut her, and, you know, stuff like that. But, again, she's on suspension, but they, you know, yeah, but she was suggesting that you should maybe cut her, maybe, but, yeah. But, again, it depends on if you go that route with your character and, you know, stuff like that. So, and then that leads to other consequences if you do cut her. So I feel like, you know, but yeah. Again, but I get fans' perspectives and stuff like that, but I'm like, it's called giving her a chance, and don't, you know, let, like, you know, don't, like, you know, there's just, you gotta give people, like, a second chance, and you gotta, you know, you can't let it, you know, define yourselves, and, you know, stuff like that, and define them as well, because, like, sometimes, yeah, that just, you know, it happens, and, you know, yeah. And then, of course, afterwards, that leads to, you know, yeah, like, us as the audience finding out, and then them as characters, you know, well, totally Robert as character finding out that she was there that night, and when you play the game, in the beginning of the game, like, you know, she placed that bomb on the back of his Mega Man suit, like, she was there that night, and, you know, because with the deal, like, you know, her and Shroud made, because she has asthma, and she had something that could, you know, increase her lung capacity and stuff like that, so, yeah, and then, again, it depends on which route you go with Robert's character, when, you know, if you decide to forgive her or not, and stuff like that, so, yeah, that was just, you know, again, that was half surprising to me, but yet again, half was like, I was kind of suspecting it, because, again, I was watching Jacksepticeye play it, and I was like, I kind of agreed with him, you know, because I was like, maybe that could be possible, like, that could be coming up, so. But yeah, moral of the story is, I just hate that people aren't giving her a chance, or, like, they're defining, like, you know, other, you know, just things, and I'm like, you gotta give people a chance, like, again, if you don't like her, you don't like her, whatever, that's on you, that's, you know, yeah, but it's called giving people a chance, and, you know, yeah, that's literally all it is, like, it's called giving her a chance, and, you know, yeah, that's just it, you know, but yeah, but again, if you're either Team Blonde Blazer or Team Invisigal, you know, yeah, that's up to you, but, so yeah. Just saying.